Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you what I see while you're watching me. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we make our videos. Well, first of all, you can see that there is a main camera over here in front of me, and I have converted my lovely pot rack that Samantha bought me for my birthday several years ago into a giant camera stand. The camera that's in front of me has my wireless mic hooked to it. We've tried at least 3 different wireless mics and boom mics trying to improve the sound. You can also see that I have 2 giant box lights in front of me, and of course the regular kitchen light. Lights have been a major problem. And Brett and I didn't go to film school to learn how to do this. When we started these videos, we started with 1 camera, and it was a corner shot. If you go back to the very first camera, you'll see very first video, you'll see what I was talking about, how we were shooting with that 1 camera. And then we slowly added cameras and added lights and improved the sound until you get our 2019 videos. I'm going to show you some of the other cameras and lights. There's a bar, of course, in front of me. That's new. I put that in, and I'm going to do some detailed videos on kitchen projects that I've done and tell y'all how I did them. You can see the kitchen table is in front of me, and it has some remains of Christmas and some video ingredients and tools where I'm working on other videos now. I have lights over here to the side of me that are mounted on the cabinets and on these poles that I've put up. The camera over my new bar is up directly over top of me, so you can see what ingredients I have sitting down here. I have 2 more lights on the other side of me when I'm at the bar. And then as you turn around, there are lights over the sink. And here's a corner camera. Now this camera mount is a very homemade camera mount, as is the one that has the main camera on the baker's rack. You can see it's just a little stick here, and it's attached to the wire rack in my garden window. And then I took the top off of one of those little portable tripod things and mounted it to the stick, and that's what I have the camera mounted to and how I adjust it. Our original first shot was from somewhere back up in that corner, and I used a small tripod up there. Going on around, I have another camera on over the stove, and that's the camera that gives you the shots of what I'm cooking, so you can see exactly what's on the stove. And I've got these things sitting on the stove because I'm trying to cut down some of the blue glare that comes off of the stove. The top of that stove turns everything in the kitchen blue when we film. Digital cameras have some trouble with color. And you can see I've got more ingredients sitting out here because I'm getting ready to film a rice pudding video. And going on around the kitchen, I have yet more lights up here. And when you go back around, here are the lights that started over the bar. Like I said, this bar I added in at one time. We did not even have this front view. We didn't even have this front view for a long time after we started. And then I had a little $30 Walmart microwave cart that I worked off of to give you this view. And the stainless steel bars that you see up here, there it is, that you see up here where I have all the cameras mounted, those have all been, of course, added in. They were just for these videos. My kitchen is not very big. It's not much bigger than most apartment kitchens. These bars are metal electrical conduit, and you can get a better view of them maybe from the big camera, the main front camera that's over there. But they weren't hard to put in. We did have to have something to hang cameras from. My first stove view was a camera that was attached to my range hood, which I have taken that out and now have a microwave over the stove. But I actually drilled a hole in the range hood and used that same little camera mount that I have over on this corner camera. But that view did not work very well. You mostly got the top of my head and not what I was cooking with, or not what I was cooking on the stove. So what we are doing now, this video that I'm shooting will actually have 5 separate cameras in it. Of course, the one I'm carrying, the main front camera, the camera over the bar, the camera over the stove, the camera in the corner, and that's a lot of film, or a lot of footage. Not film anymore, obviously it's all digital. But if I cook something that takes me 2 hours to cook, Brett ends up with 8 hours of video if I just use the 4 cameras. If I add in a live camera moving around, that's 5 cameras. And that's more footage than a computer will process. It causes the computer to crash while he's editing. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to start cooking stuff in stages so I can get him maybe 30 minutes of video for something that takes 2 hours to cook. You will still get the same fluid video that shows the process from beginning to end and explains it. We just won't have hours of footage while stuff's cooking, or we won't have to cut the cameras on and off, because every time all these cameras are cut off and then cut back on, he has to line all that footage up again so that my lips match when I move from the bar to this side camera. And when you watch the videos, you will see me pick something up over here. You'll literally see it sitting here on the bar. It'll come up. Then you'll see me turn and move through the kitchen and sit it down on the stove. And that will all be one fluid movement. But that takes 4 cuts. He starts with the camera over the bar. Then he goes to the front camera and it moves in the video to the camera over here. And then it goes up here. Now, like I said, neither of us went to film school, and Brett is an absolutely amazing editor. If something happens to him, what y'all are going to get is me in here with my cell phone, pointing the cell phone at me and pointing it at what I'm cooking and pointing it back at me, because I will never figure this out. So that's a little bit of what it takes to make these videos and edit them, bring them to you. Like I said, it takes him 4 cuts, and then he does, they call it post-production zooms. In the editor, he zooms the camera and moves the scene that you see as I'm turning, so you get a live fluid movement. It's not just me standing here talking. Amazing editor. Most YouTube cooking videos have 1 camera, and there's usually somebody holding it, or it's in a corner, which is how we started. And we just added, like I said, the cameras one at a time. I am going to do some more videos on the kitchen, some of the projects I've done, like how I did this counter, everything from building it, installing it. I'm going to show you all the stuff that I used. I just replaced the floor in the kitchen. My kitchen really needed a lot of work. Our house is about 20 years old now, and we had 4 kids, so if you have kids, you can only imagine what happens to your kitchen in 20 years with 4 kids. But I just replaced the floor. I've been working on little things. Some of the videos that I'm going to do on kitchen projects are really simple. Like, I'm going to show you a true $5 backsplash, because if you look at the older videos, you will see my kitchen did not have a backsplash, and I had the dark green walls, and I was talking about what digital cameras do to color. The color was terrible, so I put in this black and white backsplash, and it really was $5, not $5 a square foot, $5. And I searched and searched and searched online for backsplash ideas, And there's a big thing on Pinterest. It's a whole category of stuff. It's $5 backsplashes. Well, they're not really $5. They're $5 a square foot, which is a lot of money. And that was at a time when we had no money. I mean, we were seriously cash poor because Brett was having some health problems and I was the only one working. But I'm going to show you how to do that. It's held up very well and it's very easy to do. And I'm also going to show you how to do a $5 pot rack that is very simple. You only need a screwdriver and it's sturdy and it will hold a whole lot of pots and pans. And then I'm going to get into some bigger projects like replacing the floor and give you some suggestions for that, tell you what tools you'll need, show you what it looks like. And like I said, I'm going to get into this counter where I've added all the cabinets. You can see where I've added the cabinets up here. They're actually a different color. When I started, I had a pantry over here, and I'm still working on this. You can see where the pantry was. It was 24 inches wide, but most of it was wall. The actual pantry was only 12 inches wide and 6 feet high, and it was about 24 inches deep. So it didn't hold nearly as much as this, and it didn't look nearly as good as this. It really closed the kitchen up, and I didn't have anywhere to shoot videos from, so this was necessary to shoot videos. I hope that gives you a little more idea maybe about what goes into these videos. Some people ask questions about why I do certain things. Maybe you'll see why I do those things. I know in the last video I cut the recipe in half and made half of it in the refrigerator so that I didn't have so much footage, and that still had over an hour of footage that had to be edited down, which means with the 4 cameras it was 4 hours of footage that all had to be processed at one time, and it took a very long time. And somebody said, you said 2 sticks of butter, but there's only 1 stick of butter there. Well, I also said I cut the recipe in half so I could make half of it ahead of time and get the video all in one shot. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm not going to be cutting recipes in half all the time necessarily, but that was a lot of candy, and I did not need 2 batches of that candy 2 days before Christmas because I didn't have time to give that much away, and I didn't want to throw away that much. But a lot of the videos I'm going to be doing like that, I'll have them prepared in steps so that everything will be ready and I can shoot 30 minutes of video, give you a 2-hour recipe, and you still get all the details and all the steps. If you're thinking about doing YouTube videos or maybe starting a cooking show, that'll give you some ideas of how you can mount cameras maybe. A lot of the mounts, like I said, I made them. The lights I added until Brett stopped complaining that there wasn't enough light in the video. These lights over here, they're just shop lights. They're clip-on shop lights. Of course, the big box lights, they're regular video lights. The cameras that are mounted overhead, those are handlebar mounts. They will work on these small video cameras, but they're made primarily for like GoPro cameras and stuff like that. You can get those off of eBay. They're pretty cheap. Probably get them off of Amazon too. I don't know, but I ordered mine off of eBay. They're, like I said, not much at all. The main camera mount, it's sitting up there with several different methods. If anybody's interested in that, I can maybe tell you how to do it. I've used zip ties and everything on it to hold it because it's an expensive camera and I definitely don't want it falling. It's also a heavy camera. And this one over here, you know, I showed you how I did it. It's just the stick attached to the wire rack, and then it has the little tripod end on it. But I said I hope you enjoy this. I hope it gave you some insight into what goes into these videos. Some of you I know are interested, and that's what it takes to make a Hillbilly Kitchen video. The process has gotten far more complicated since we started. Before I actually start filming, I have to make sure all these cameras are plugged in, turned on. All the white balance has to be done. Then I have to make sure they're all recording. And to set white balance on a camera, by the way, we just use a piece of white paper. That's why this is laying here. But I have to put my microphone on, make sure my microphone's working. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has to go has to be done before I actually start filming. There's probably 2 hours of prep time getting everything set up, everything turned on, making sure the SD cards are clean and all that stuff. But like I said, it has gotten far more complicated. Every time we add a camera, it adds something else I have to do before I start filming, and it adds more footage that Brett has to sort through and more cuts that he has to do to get that camera in. But I hope y'all enjoy these. That's also kind of why there's not one every other day, because there's no way, even if we were doing this full time, that we could get one up every other day. Probably 2 a week would be our max with this kind of camera equipment. Now if we cut back and we did single camera videos, of course we could pop them up much quicker because it would be less editing and less prep work. But I think these are worth it. There's a little more to it. It's more fluid, and it gives you more detail in the recipe and in how to cook it. So thanks for joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen, and I hope you stay with us all through 2019 and all the years to come. And I hope you enjoy all this effort that goes into these videos, because we really do try hard to bring you a quality video, good recipes, and make them somewhat entertaining too. Till next time, don't forget to put God first and click like and subscribe before you leave so that you get notifications when we upload new videos. See y'all soon.